We seem to be living in a time where everything is becoming more and more expensive, especially recreational activities. Hey man, do you want to go bowling? No, that costs $100. But what if I told you that camping didn't have to be like that? That it could be relatively low cost if you know where to look and if you know what you're doing. And that's what today's video is going to be all about. Hello, my name is Kai. I'm a lifelong camper and enjoyer of the outdoors. And today I'm going to be going through a list of essential camping items that I think you should either save your money on or spend your money on as a beginner. Camping in the outdoors has become this giant industry, but don't be fooled. You don't have to spend all of your life savings on an Arc'teryx jacket. Before I dive into the list, I just want you guys to remember these are my personal opinions based on my personal experience, which I do have a lot of, but obviously you can spend your money however you want. So let's start with our first piece of gear, the sleeping bag. Now, this might be a little controversial, but I think you should definitely save your money here. Do not buy an expensive sleeping bag if you are a beginner camper. I highly recommend that all beginner campers do their first few trips during the summer, or at least during the warm months. This just makes planning a lot simpler and makes it a lot easier to use less expensive gear. So as a beginner, if you're going camping during the summer, you'll be completely fine with a sleeping bag from any big store like Walmart, Canadian Tire, anything like that. I like to use this analogy to kind of think of the range of price of camping gear. So if we look at cars, for example, a Honda Civic is great for daily commuting, driving in the city. But if you wanted to go off-roading, you definitely wouldn't want to use a Honda Civic, right? So it's the same thing with camping gear. If you're just getting into camping and only plan on going during the summer, a cheap sleeping bag from a big store like Walmart will be just fine. That is your Honda Civic. But if you wanted to go into more extreme environments or different seasons, that's like off-roading. You need to get a different car, different gear, and typically the gear that is more specialized and is for these harsher environments is going to be more expensive, just because the materials needed and the quality of the product need to be higher in order to be functional in those environments. So sleeping bag, save your money. So let's move on to the next component of your sleep system, and that would be your sleeping pad. Here, I definitely think you should spend at least some money. And hear me out, I've tried all types of sleeping pads. You don't want to sleep on a cheap sleeping pad. You will not have a good time. It won't be comfortable. You won't sleep well, and you just won't be happy with your experience. So I would definitely recommend spending at least some money on a better sleeping pad. Do not buy one of those foam accordion folding sleeping pads. They are not comfortable. They are not warm. Find something that looks thick enough and that looks like it'll actually be comfortable and not cause you back pain. And that brings us to number 3, shelter or your tent. So this can feel like a big purchase because your tent is what is separating you from the elements while you're camping. So this leads a lot of people to think you need to go expensive when buying a tent. But honestly, I think you should save your money here. I've been using a $50 tent from Decathlon for the past 3 years in all sorts of conditions, and it has never once failed me. I've used it in the Canadian backcountry in the summer, in the fall when it was constantly raining. I even used it while backpacking across Scotland. Now, is it the lightest tent? No, but this $50 two-person tent is only about 3 pounds. If you're not aiming for ultralight, you're going to be completely fine. These tents are simple to put up, they'll keep you dry, and they'll keep the bugs out. That's all you really need as a beginner. So just buy a simple one or a used one from Facebook Marketplace. And that goes for all the gear I'll be talking about in this video. You can find used versions on online marketplaces for much cheaper. So for your tent, save your money. Number 4, your backpack. Now, I don't want to call out any brands in specific, but somehow $400 backpacks have somehow become the industry standard in the camping world. I'm talking to you, Osprey. And personally, I just find this absolutely ridiculous. Are these backpacks comfortable? Yes. Is the quality of the material better? It's supposed to be, but as it seems to be the case with most products these days, the quality isn't actually that great anymore. So with my backpack, I've just been using one from Decathlon. It was like 60 bucks. You don't need a $400 backpack, especially if you're a beginner. So on to number 5, your stove. Now, whether you should spend or save your money here depends on if you're going to be a single person, a small group, or a large group. Let's say you're going with your family, you're not going to want to get the same stove as somebody that's just going 2 or 3 people or by themselves. So if you're anywhere from 1 to 4 people, I would just recommend one of those compact canister stoves. So that means it can screw on to a tank of propane or whatever gas you're using. These are really small and they're usually around 50 bucks. So I definitely wouldn't buy any of the fancier systems out there like Jetboil, for instance. You don't need to spend your money there. You can just buy one of those cheap ones and it'll work absolutely fine. I've had the same one for many years now and it has never once failed me. It's great. If you're going in a larger group or with your family, you're gonna want to look at something like Coleman's 2-burner stove. I personally have a lot of experience using these and helping people learn how to use them. They're really easy to set up. It kind of works exactly like a barbecue or a gas stove. And it makes cooking in a group just so much more efficient with those 2 burners. It also has these panels on the side and in the back to block the wind. These are really great. I recommend them. These are typically around $100 to $150. And just so you guys know, all the prices I'm estimating here are in Canadian dollars. And now moving on to number 6, we have your cookware. What are you gonna put on your stove to cook? So again, if you're in a smaller group or by yourself, I would definitely recommend a small lightweight pot set. These usually consist of a taller pot and a small pan, both with folding handles. These work great. I feel like I'm repeating myself all the time, but I've had one of these for years. It's never failed me. Save your money. You don't need an expensive cookware system. If you're in a bigger group or with your family, I would definitely recommend something like the GSI Bugaboo kit. I have a lot of experience with these, showing people how they work. The thing about these is that they are just so simple to understand, they're easy to use, and they all stack into each other, so they're really compact and save space. These are just great. So if you're gonna take anything away from today's video, it should be that camping doesn't have to be expensive. Your first few summer trips should be affordable, comfortable, and simple. You should be saving your money on not buying the stuff that doesn't matter yet. And if you are going to be spending some money, invest in things that'll make you more comfortable and things that will improve your overall experience. But most importantly, camping isn't about the gear. It's just about getting out there with whatever you might have. So start small, start affordable, and start with what you have. My name is Kai. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're looking for more beginner guides to the outdoors and camping, feel free to subscribe and hit that notification bell because I will be uploading many more videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video and I hope everybody has an awesome day.